The lights came on. Lily froze. The Harrington family came back from France early. A man, sitting in a chair on the terrace. Like he'd been there the whole time. Dark hair, loosened tie, glass of whiskey, working very hard not to laugh. "I should mention," he said pleasantly, "I'm a Harrington." This was the worst night of Lily Chen's life, and it had started with a baseball game. Cubs game. Bad bet. Best friend Jade swearing the estate was empty. The Harrington family is in France. The pool is just sitting there. It's private property. Victimless crime. The Cubs lost by 2. Of course they did. And now Lily was standing at the edge of the most beautiful pool she'd ever seen, in front of its owner, who was still not laughing. "Barely. Can I ask," he said carefully, "exactly how you got past my gate?" For seconds, Lily's brain stopped, then started working very fast. She was on private property, about to do something inadvisable, being watched by the actual owner, going to die of embarrassment. "I can explain," she said. "Please do. I lost a bet." He nodded slowly. "That explains the pool." "It doesn't explain." He gestured at the general situation. The terms were specific. "Clearly, I want to be clear that I hadn't actually, I was still fully. I arrived at an opportune moment." "Yes," she exhaled. "Thank you for that." "You're welcome." He stood, picked up a folded towel from the chair beside him like he'd somehow prepared for this, and walked to the pool's edge. Held it out. She took it, wrapped it around herself, even though she was fully clothed. It helped somehow. "I'm going to leave now," she said. "Probably wise. And I'm going to pretend this never happened. Also reasonable. And I'm going to have a serious conversation with my friend about the definition of empty estate." "She told you we were in France?" "She told me the Harrington family was in France. We came back Thursday." He tilted his head. "What's your friend's name?" "Jade Morrison." Something shifted in his expression. "Jade Morrison," he repeated slowly. "She's been my neighbor's daughter since we were 12. He paused. "She absolutely knew we were back." Lily went very still. "She knew, almost certainly. She sent me here on purpose?" "It appears so. I'm going to kill her." "Can I suggest you do that after you've left my property, for legal reasons?" Lily stared at him. This completely composed, irritatingly calm man, holding a towel for a stranger who'd broken into his garden. "I'm Lily Chen." Lily Chen. Nathaniel Harrington. He offered his hand. "Nate." She shook it. "I'm so sorry about this." "Don't be. It's the most interesting thing that's happened since France." He looked at the pool. "Would you like a drink before you go? By way of apology for my gate's failure?" "Your gate didn't fail. My friend committed fraud." "Semantics." He gestured toward the terrace. "Drink." She should say no. Should leave. Never return. Block Jade's number. "One drink," she said. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that Jade had been trying to engineer this exact moment for 3 months. And that Nate Harrington had been told about her almost as many times as she'd never heard his name. He made her tea. Not whiskey, tea. "You look like a tea person," he said. "How?" "You're holding a towel you don't need for comfort. Tea people do that. That's very specific profiling. I've had time to observe." She narrowed her eyes. "How long were you sitting there before you said something?" "About 4 minutes." 4. You were having what appeared to be a very intense internal conversation. I didn't want to interrupt. You watched me have an existential crisis in silence for 4 minutes? I waited until it seemed like you'd reached a decision. He handed her the tea. It seemed polite. She stared at him. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "I broke into your pool at midnight." Most people call the police. Most people don't have Jade Morrison as a mutual connection. He sat across from her. She mentioned you. Several times. Said you were her exact words. The most genuine person I know who also has terrible taste in baseball teams. Lily set down her tea very carefully. She bet me on a Cubs game she knew I'd lose. Sent me to your pool. On purpose. She paused. How long has she been planning this? 3 months, Nate said. Lily looked at the sky. 3 months. She's determined. I'll give her that. She's a menace. She's been a menace since she was 12. I say that with complete affection. 1 drink became 3 hours. They talked about everything. His family's real estate empire. Her work as a pediatric occupational therapist. My younger brother has autism, she said. His OT changed his life. I wanted to do that for someone else. Nate was quiet for a moment. You do that every day. I try. More than try. I'm sure of it. She looked at him. How are you this? She stopped. This what? Normal. You're a billionaire. You should be strange by now. I'm definitely strange. You arrived at my pool at midnight and I sat there for minutes because I thought you might be a ghost. She burst out laughing. A ghost. You appeared out of nowhere. It was a reasonable first assumption. I am not a ghost. I've confirmed that now. He smiled. Definitively. 3 hours had passed. Neither of them had noticed. And for the first time that night, Nate looked like he was debating whether to ask something much more dangerous than how she'd gotten past his gate. How are you real? He said. What? You broke into my pool because you're too loyal to refuse a bet. You work with children because of your brother. You drink tea and talk about baseball like it's philosophy. He shook his head. I've been told about you 3 times by Jade and I still wasn't prepared. I'm extremely normal. You're extremely not. You don't know me. I've been trying to figure that out all night. He leaned forward. Can I fix that? Fix what? Not knowing you. She looked at him. Nate Harrington. Billionaire. Accidentally ambushed by his neighbor's scheming. Looking at her like she was worth the scheming. Jade is going to be insufferable about this, Lily said. Absolutely unbearable. She claimed full credit. She deserves some credit. I'm not telling her that. Wise. He held out his phone. Your number? She took it. Put in her contact. Handed it back. Nate. Yes. If I'd been a few minutes faster, would you have said something immediately? He considered this seriously. Yes, immediately. Not for minutes later. The for minutes was the ghost situation. That was a special case. She laughed. He smiled. And Lily thought, oh, this is why Jade did this. She left at 1 a.m. Walked to her car. Got in. Sat there. Because something had happened on that terrace and she wasn't sure what to do with it. Then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The Cubs are going to break your heart next season too. I'll be here when they do. And Jade answered on the first ring. Well, you knew. Define knew. You knew they were back from France. You knew the Cubs would lose. You engineered this entire. Did it work? Jade, did it work? Lily looked at her phone. At Nate's number now saved in it. At the text still glowing on her screen. Maybe. Jade screamed so loud Lily pulled the phone away. I knew it. 3 months of trying. You sent me to commit trespassing. It was 1 gate. Jade, was he nice? Lily thought about the towel. The tea. The for minutes. The ghost situation. Infuriatingly nice. I told you. You told me nothing. You sent me to a pool. Same thing. She could hear Jade smiling. So, details. I'm hanging up. Lily. Good night, Jade. Call me tomorrow first thing. I want to know every. She hung up, looked at the text again. The Cubs are going to break your heart next season too. I'll be here when they do. N. Typed back. That's very presumptuous for someone I've known 3 hours. His reply came in 30 seconds. 3 hours and 42 minutes. I've been counting. She stared at her phone, smiled, and thought, the Cubs lost. And somehow she'd won anyway. Jade was telling the story to everyone. At every dinner party, she appeared at his pool at midnight. Jade. And he sat there for minutes. Please. Because he thought she was a ghost. I'm revoking your anniversary invitation. Jade stopped. Your anniversary. 6 months, Nate said. Which you caused. Intentionally. I prefer engineered. That's not better. It's more sophisticated. Jade grinned. You're welcome, by the way. We are not saying you're welcome. Lily started. You're absolutely welcome, Nate said. Lily looked at him. Don't encourage her. She deserves something. She committed mild fraud. Alleged, Jade said cheerfully. Nate put his arm around Lily. The Cubs lost. You still won. Don't be smug. I'm being accurate. He kissed her. Right there. In front of Jade, who immediately pulled out her phone. This is going in the wedding speech, Jade announced. I've been ready for months. We've been together 6 months. I know what I know. Lily looked at Nate, who looked back, like a man who had also known something for a while. The pool is warmer in summer, he said quietly. Is that an invitation? Standing offer. No bets required. She smiled. Deal. She lost a bet. Ended up at a billionaire's pool at midnight. He thought she was a ghost. She thought she'd die of embarrassment. Neither happened. Instead, 3 hours, a number, and a friend who would be insufferable about it forever. Some bets you lose on purpose. Some people appear through a gate you shouldn't have opened. And some love stories start with a towel offered by a stranger who had the grace to wait for minutes before saying hello. And the Cubs, they lost again next season. He was there, like he promised.